Clock's ticking on the Friday, March 3rd, 3 p.m. NHL trade deadline. The Devils have already made a move, and they got their guy, Timo Meier. But there's still a lot of speculation out there what the Rangers are going to do, especially when it comes to Patrick Kane. Well, Shayna Goldman from The Athletic is here to break down anything and everything trade deadline. Shayna, we've already seen all types of action already. Like, forget the suspense of Friday's deadline. We've seen Bo Horvat, Vlad Tarasenko, and Ryan O'Reilly. There have been some big names that have been dealt, but the trade that everyone's talking about is Timo Meier to the Devils. 52 points in 57 games for San Jose. So what does he bring to this team? And can you break down his contract situation?
Yeah, so Timo Meier was the best player on the market. You know, it's not often that elite talent moves. You either have to draft and develop that or overpay for that in free agency. So whenever there's an opportunity to add a player like Timo Meier, a team should jump at the chance. He is such a complete forward. He's so good offensively. He is great when it comes to creating shot volume. He's great at, generating scoring chances. And he does it himself. He doesn't need to be, he doesn't need someone to transport the puck for him. He can do that on his own, and he's going to be that much better when he's playing alongside some of the players in New Jersey, like Jack Hughes, like Nico Hischier, who are going to elevate his game to another level. The interesting part is his contract situation. The Devils retained control of his deal this summer. He's a restricted free agent, and he's due a $10 million qualifying offer. That doesn't mean that's what he's going to sign for. It doesn't mean that's what the Devils have to offer him. He could go in the $9 million range. They don't have a forward that makes more than Jack Hughes right now, which is an $8 million cap hit. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're willing to go above that with Meier, because he is worth it. And it'll be interesting to see if any other team tries to spice it up. We don't often see offer sheets in the NHL, but it would be really interesting to see one here, because this is a player that would be worth spending those first round picks that, the compensation would be.
Yeah, it looks like there's going to be some drama going down this summer, so that's going to be something we're going to keep our eyes on. So let's move to the Blue Shirts. With Patrick Kane's arrival imminent, how do you think he's going to fit on the squad, and not only on the ice, but when it comes to New York's salary cap situation?
So this year, it feels like every trade is so convoluted to make the cap work. And, this is no different. The Rangers already made their big move, so they don't have as much space as they did before. But, that's why they're waiting, because teams accrue cap space as the season progresses. With this case, it's going to be tough for them to make any other moves, any other changes, unless a third team broker we see join in the deal. And we did see that, with, say, the Ryan O'Reilly trade to Toronto. The Minnesota Wild stepped up in that capacity, and there's teams that can do that. We're not sure if that's going to be the case in New York, but on the ice, he's a very good right winger. He is not at his best at this point in his career. We see, he is past his prime relative to what he's been, but he's still a very good playmaker. He hasn't had much to work with in Chicago, and that's going to be completely different in New York. And it's going to add more versatility to the Rangers lineup, just to have another capable right winger instead of depth players stepping up in roles that maybe they're not cut out for. So it should help their scoring. And even if, he is not the strongest player defensively, which he never has been, and at this point in his career, it's particularly true, they can still manage that. They have one of the best goalies in the world. So between a high-powered offense and really strong goaltending, they're still a really intriguing team to watch this spring.
All right, surprisingly, there is hockey played outside of New York and New Jersey. So what are some other teams or big names that we should keep an eye on as the deadline approaches?
So the player that's been rumored to be on the move for so long now is Jacob Chipgren. It depends if the Arizona Coyotes actually make a deal. He's not a rental. He's very good. He's young. He's in his prime, and he has a good contract to go along with it. So it'll be interesting to see if he finally is on the move after being rumored to be so for over a year, and who else the Coyotes have to offer. If it's a player like Nick Schmaltz, another player with term, or which depth player could we see moving, like Vladislav Gavrikov, who didn't get traded previously because the Capitals jumped in as sellers. So it's going to be really interesting to see the players that teams know to be good in the postseason, that make them harder to play against, that are more physical, that we always see those teams flock to, or if anyone's going to take a risk on someone with a lot of upside, like Jacob Vrana.